Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel! Last time, we have talked about common nouns and proper nouns. And today, we're going to discuss about the 12 Olympian gods and goddesses of Greek mythology. So we're going to discuss today 12 Olympians of the Greek mythology gods and goddesses. There are actually 14 main gods and goddesses. Yes, you have heard me right. There are 14 main gods and goddesses. But the reason why we consider only 12 of them as Olympians is because one, that is Hades, is not considered an Olympian by other Olympians. Why? Because he got his own throne in the underworld. The other one is Hestia. When Dionysius was born and stormed Olympus, they couldn't just add an Olympian position. So somebody had to step down. And yes, that is Hestia. She became the guardian of Olympus. Let me introduce to you the 12 Olympians, starting off with Zeus. So Zeus was the king of Olympian gods and the supreme deity in Greek religion, often referred to as the father, as the god of thunder and the cloud gatherer. He controlled the weather, offered signs and omens, and generally dispensed justice, guaranteeing order amongst both the gods and humanity from his seat high on Mount Olympus. The reason why he was called as the god of the gods, it is because he was the son of Cronus and Rhea, and Cronus was afraid that one of his children will dethrone him. So he swallowed all of his children, but Zeus, the youngest among them, was saved by their mother Rhea. On reaching adulthood, Zeus made Cronus cough back up the children he had swallowed, and then Zeus married his sister Hera. The second Olympian is Hera. Hera was the wife of Zeus and queen of the ancient Greek gods, represented the ideal woman, and was goddess of marriage and the family. However, she was perhaps most famous of her jealous and vengeful nature, principally aimed against the lovers of her husband and their illegitimate offspring. Hera herself was notable as one of the very few deities that remained faithful to her partner, as she therefore came to symbolize monogamy and fidelity. The third Olympian is Athena. She was the goddess of wisdom, war, and the crafts, and she was the favorite daughter of Zeus. Athena was perhaps the wisest, most courageous, and certainly the most resourceful of the Olympian gods. For the information of everyone, Athena was born from Zeus' head, wearing armor and fully grown. But how? Because when Metis, by the way, Metis is the first spouse of Zeus. When Metis was pregnant, he swallowed her, and then Athena was born. The fourth Olympian is Apollo. Apollo was a major Greek god who was associated with the bow, music, and divination. He was the epitome of youth and beauty, source of life and healing, patron of the civilized arts, and as bright and powerful as the sun itself. Apollo was arguably the most loved of all the Greek gods. He was the twin brother of Artemis. The fifth Olympian is Poseidon. He was the god of the sea and rivers, creators of storms and floods, and the bringer of earthquakes and destruction. Poseidon was perhaps the most destructive of all the ancient Greek gods, not only for mortals, but also to Zeus' peaceful reign on Mount Olympus. Despite the above, the trident-bearing god was not always a negative force, and he did have a role as a protector, particularly to mariners, and as the patron of horses and horse breeding. The next Olympian is Ares. He was the Greek god of war and perhaps the most unpopular of all the Olympian gods because of his quick temper, aggressiveness, and unquenchable thirst for conflict. He was famously seduced Aphrodite, successfully fought with Hercules, and enraged Poseidon by killing his son. We have Artemis. Artemis was the Greek goddess of hunting, wild nature, and chastity. She was the daughter of Zeus and sister of Apollo. Artemis was regarded as a patron of girls and young women and a protectress during childbirth. Is Demeter. Demeter was the goddess of harvest and presides over grains and the fertility of the earth. She was one of the oldest gods in the ancient Greek, and she guaranteed the fertility of the earth and protected both farming and vegetation. The next Olympian is Aphrodite. She was the goddess of love, beauty, desire, and all aspects of sexuality. Aphrodite could entice both gods and men into illicit affairs with her good looks and whispered sweet nothings. Aphrodite had a much wider significance than the traditional view as a mere goddess of love and sex. Worshipped by men, women, and city-state officials, she also played the role in the commerce, warfare, and politics of ancient Greek cities. We have Dionysus. Dionysus was the ancient Greek god of wine, merriment, and theater. Being the bad boy of Mount Olympus, he was perhaps the most colorful of the Olympian gods. Next is Hermes. He was the ancient Greek god of trade, wealth, luck, fertility, animal husbandry, sleep, language, thieves, and travel. He was the patron of shepherds, invented the lyre, and was above all the herald and messenger of Mount Olympus. And lastly, we have Hephaestus. He was the ancient Greek god of fire, metallurgy, and crafts. He was the brilliant blacksmith of the Olympian gods, for whom he fashioned magnificent houses, armor, and ingenious devices. Hephaestus was the son of Hera alone. Because of his ugliness, Hera threw him from Mount Olympus, and crashing to earth, the god became lame. Hephaestus held a grudge against his mother and even imprisoned her in a special throne. Hera was only released from the device by promising her son the hand of Aphrodite in marriage. If you find this video informative, hit like and the subscribe button below. And turn on the notification bell in order for you to be notified if I have a new video. So this is Joanne reminding you that learning is fun. Bye!